so in Dandasana, we're thinking about our posture particularly, and that's because of our breath practice. And so connect, have a little roll around with your sit bones, and find your tailbone maybe tucked in the middle, and try and find the center point of your base then. So you don't feel you're leaning forward, don't feel you're leaning back, just feel like you're stacking from that sit bone, tailbone area straight up the way. If you can't feel that, you can sit in a block, as I say, or you can bring your feet in a little bit if it makes you feel that you can sit up a bit taller. But what we're really thinking about is our body connection here. So stability in the bottom half so that everything can stack up nice and tall on the top. If you want to switch your feet on to get your legs involved, then please do. And then we're going to think about moving today from our center. So that's what it's about. It's not about taking the options, taking the hardest position that we're doing. It's about finding that center point. So first of all, take your hands and place them where you feel your center point is in the front of your body. Might not be where I feel my center is. It's not necessarily the center of gravity, not necessarily your belly button, because it's quite low often. I've got a long back, but it's kind of where I feel that everything draws back in, upwards, inwards. And that's the kind of tipping point of balance. So find that center point with your hands on the front of your body, one just crossed on top of the other one, connect to it. Feel it below the palms of your hands, and then controlling your breath, take 3 breaths, just in for 4, exhale for 4 through your nostrils. Begin when you're ready. Make them nice and smooth and try and lead the breath down towards the palms of your hands. So taking the breath to your center that you feel. Maybe you feel your center is actually down low. It may be your abdominal area, your belly area that you're clasping. Just wherever you feel that the center point is. You can feel that energy below your palms as you draw the breath in and exhale gently from that same spot. And let go of the exhale after your next breath. If I say 3 breaths and I take more, don't worry. Move the hands now if you can comfortably. If you can't quite fix yourself to the center point in your side bodies, then just psychically attach yourself to that area. Let's see if you can attach either your palms or maybe just your fingers, wherever you can reach, or maybe even your elbows coming in will find that spot. Find the center points on either side of your body, still moving inwards towards that center point on the front of your body. So when you're attached to there, take 3 or 4 breaths here, inhaling for 4 through your nostrils again. Exhaling gently out. Maybe you go to one side on the first breath, to the other side on the other breath, and then try and expand to both breaths for the last 2 breaths. Reaching outwards, feeling your ribs moving out towards the palms of your hands as you do so. Again, it might be lower, it might be at your hips. And then let go of the breath. And you've exhaled the last one. Now we're going to reach for the back of the body. This is a bit more difficult to find. Might have to be the back of your hand that you find on that center point. But see if you can reach back and find that middle point. And it should be the back point of the diamond shape. So you've got your front, your 2 sides. Try and find the mirror image of your front body, the back. And try and reach to there. If you can't, again, use just psychic connection to it. And 3 or 4 more breaths here into the back of the body this time, into that center spot. Feel the center spot, or that wherever the spot happens to be for you. Feel it expand. Imagine a circle expanding, or maybe our flower that we had the other day there, expanding and closing. After your next inhale, release the arms, release the breath. Just pop the hands on your knees for a second. And everybody just psychically attached to that very center point within you where those 4 points would come together. So when we move, that's where we're thinking of moving from. Now, it might be as you move, it doesn't quite feel that area. It might have lowered. It might be that actually, stability-wise, your center point's a little bit different from what you perceived it to be there. But that's what we're thinking of, moving from inside outwards today, not outside inwards. Okay, so first thing, half Apanasana. Bring your right leg into the floor. Flatten the foot to the floor, bring your knee in towards you. So we're thinking of it bringing it towards our chest here, not to our armpits. So straighten the knee up so it's coming straight back towards your core, not to your arm. Hands can be behind your thighs or can be in front of your shins clasped, whichever's more comfortable. Go back to your sit bones, find that length through the whole of the body up to the crown. Press gently into your right sole of your foot to see if you can get a little bit more lift through to the crown. Find that whole length in the front of the body. And then gently see if you can squeeze your knee back towards your chest. So drawing it in a little bit. You can lift your foot off the floor if you need to just draw it in a bit closer to you. But we're trying to keep that long front body. Find the center line again in you and try and draw the thigh back towards that center line. Keeping that nice long body, shoulders down away from the ears. Let them go. Try and soften through the shoulders and arms a little bit. Breathe. And then release gently, letting that leg forward, taking the left one in, same thing. So we know what we're doing now. So using the foot to rebound off here, to draw yourself up through your crown. Make sure that knee doesn't wander off to the side. Draw it back in towards your chest, not your armpit. We're not doing happy baby. And then hands wherever you feel comfortable. Draw up nice and tall. Breathe in. And then exhale, see if you can move that thigh and knee a little bit closer to your core, to your center point. Breathe into your center point again. And as you exhale, draw the leg. It might not really be moving. It might just be a sensation of them getting closer. Take one more breath. And then release the foot. Bring your feet now to wide-legged windscreen wipers we're doing. So you want them wider than the mat if you're sitting long ways. And you want them with a soft bend. You don't want them too stretched away from you. Hands behind you on the floor, facing backwards if you can, or as much of a turn in your shoulder if you can. So rotate your shoulder to make your hands face behind you. Place them gently there, find that support, and then just begin your windscreen wipers. But now try and move your mind to that center point of you again. And try and move the windscreen wipers from there. Imagine that's the center point of the two wipers that are moving together. So that's where the motor is that's moving the windscreen wipers. Try and think of that. Maybe slow them down then with that motor. So from the center point, slow them down. Rolling onto the edges of the feet. So we do think of the extremities here, but we're trying to think of moving from the inside. Then come to a standstill. We're just going to take single thigh openers here. So we're just gently letting your right thigh open, rolling onto the edge of the foot. So just one windscreen wiper, really. Nothing else happens on the other side. So it's just gently opening your hip. But go up a little bit further to the center point again. Draw yourself up, see if you can keep that nice strong front body. And think of moving from that area where your hand was. You might can still feel an echo of where your hand was. You have to close your eyes sometimes. For these experiential classes, it's much easier to shut your eyes and draw inwards. And then we're going to take 3 leg lifts. So you can keep your knees bent here, or it's a little bit harder to stretch them away from you. We're going to lift, we lift always from this hip hinge, but go up a bit higher as well and extend from the center to the hip hinge. In other words, use your abdominal muscles to lift very slow, up and down on your right side, switching on your core. So go really deep inside the core to where your hands were, to the point in the middle of that diamond. Think of moving from there, not just the hip hinge. And then take the left side. You know when you do this correctly, because your hip hinge doesn't, your hip flexor doesn't feel so tired at the end of an exercise like this. You need to switch on your center to be able to lift properly and take the weight off that hip flexor. Okay, and then we're just going to bring both feet into Apanasana again when you're ready. Hip distance apart, and we're going to round forward into Apanasana now. So we're thinking of moving the center forward and rolling down onto your thighs. So Apanasana seated. So hands can just be gently behind your thighs, or you can use them to lever you forward a little bit if you want a little bit bigger stretch in the back of the body. Put them in front of your shin and lever forward. But don't be too forceful, and think of moving not your legs towards you this time, move your body towards your legs. Hold and breathe. Feel that space on the back of the body. Go to where that spot was that you touched on the back of your body. Imagine the space you're making as you breathe here. Move it outwards, that space from the center, outwards, upwards, downwards. And then roll back up slowly from the bottom. Pop the legs in front of us again. Thinking of a twist here now from center. So we're going to raise our right hand up. Find that extension first of all. So lift from your sit bones. Lift up from the middle, upwards. And then we're going to rotate. It would be an exhale here, but kind of going off the breath. Bring the right hand down to the outside of the left thigh. Look down towards the floor on that side if you can. And then lifting back up, sweeping the arm over and down to the side. So moving again from here this time. So lifting up, lift up from center. Rotate and release from the center. So it's not just the shoulders we're moving here, we're using the core. Lift back up from the center. Rotate and allow the arm to come down. If you're using the breath, it's lifting on an in, twisting on the exhale, lifting on the in, and exhaling on the opposite. But think more of center than breath if you're getting confused. Trying to do it all at once, multitasking. Rotate and lower. Same thing left side. We're using the hand to support us obviously on the other side. Inhale, lift that left side up. Move from the upwards. Exhale, we're twisting and over to the left side. So the whole of the center point being used here, the side body and the front and the back. So think of that midpoint helps to move it outwards, the movement as you twist and then extend, it moves into the back of the body as well then. Lifting up, one more. Taking it slowly gives you time to think about things. Not just physically, obviously, but mentally. We rush into things, we don't get the same experience and we don't get the same benefits. Looking down if you can as you twist. A little bit of an extra twist into the upper back and thoracic cervical spine. Let the arm come down. We're going to take side bends now. So you might want a block or something under your supporting hand here, because at the third one we're going to soften and allow our elbows to go down. So if your hand feels too low for that and you feel like you're curling, pop something under your hand so that you're a little bit higher when you fold. Have a little play if you want to bring a brick or a cushion in. When you're ready, we're lifting up on the right arm first of all, and we're just doing a little gentle side bend, moving from the center spot on the right side body. Moving from there as we lift back up to the top, exhaling the arm down. So maybe put your hand there this time, just to find that center spot as you lift and extend from there. And then lower and slight side bend, not too big a side bend. Feel that expansion on the side body. And lower. Now put your hand down to support you. We're going to go over a little bit further this time, but we're still thinking armpit to hip movement rather than folding over. But we want to soften the elbow if we can. So inhaling up And exhaling and softening at the elbow, but still that armpit to hip feeling and really expanding from the center on the right side. Hold there for 2 breaths if you're comfortable. If not, you can come back up. But think of drawing the tummy in to support the lower back. Feel that expansion a little bit more on the side body. Breathe. And then back up to the top from that center point, always moving from there to the left side. So inhale up, find the center on your left side. Exhale over, armpit to hip on the right side, that sliding feeling, but opening and sliding on the left side body. Not too big a bend the first couple. Inhale back up to the top, moving from the center to lift yourself. Lift again up, and inhale. Gently expanding on the left side body. Moving from the center and pressing downwards towards your left sit bone to lift you back up. And then we're taking the elbow bend, so lifting up, gently folding, armpit to hip still, not folding over, but elbows softening, so it's a bigger opening on your left side body. Reach out from that center point down towards your hip and out towards your middle finger. Expanding on the left side as much as you can comfortably. And then find the center again and contract everything towards it as you lift back up and lower the arm. Okay, so now we're going to come onto our tummies. Oh no, we're coming onto our sides. Sorry, my stick man looked a bit weird there. So come down onto your sides, onto the mat. Elbow under the shoulder. So that's just support at the front. We're going to do some side bends here and lifts. You can either take the legs into it or you can keep your hips on the floor and just expand. If you're going to lift your hips, everybody want to be in a sort of seated position like you were in a chair, so knees in front of you, feet flex. But bring the feet slightly back then under your bottom. So knees are in front, but feet are slightly back. And that will give you the position to lift if you want to lift off the floor with these. But that's an option. You can stay down or you can lift. Or you can just do the center point. Think of that. So we're moving from here again. Ready, we're moving on the left side, obviously. So lifting the left arm up. You may be on the opposite side, doesn't matter. And then when you're extended, think of lifting up through the waist. So really drawing up through the left side, really reaching up through that center point. And then release. Let the arm come down. If you're going to take your hips, if you haven't already, do it now. So find that connection with your feet. Inhaling up, lifting, really reaching up through that center point. And release. Draw the tummies in to support everything as we do this. Find that center point again, lift up, find the center point on your underside and lift it up a little bit higher. And release. Remember to move downwards from there as well as that. Take one more, lifting in whichever position you've decided to do it. But really think of moving through the center area of your body. And then lowering through the center area of your body so you don't just dump your hips back down if you're up. Okay, so come onto your knees now. We're going to thread the needle. So thread the needle, again, we're thinking of moving from that center of the body. So we're in tabletop, but we want our knees a little bit wider than hip distance, which allows us just to put a bit more of an easeful twist into it. Connect your wrists, elbows, shoulders on front. Make sure you're nice and stable and strong. Draw the tummy up, draw the chin in, find a long, strong back. And then when you're ready, we're breathing in and we're lifting the right arm out to the side. We're taking our head with it if you can and looking up. And then we're drawing the arm down as we exhale. We're folding it and taking it under the left arm. So the right shoulder comes to the floor, ear comes to the floor, and we come right down. Hips and knees haven't really moved position. You might find you've kicked over to the right side. So draw your hips back so that they feel they're on top of your knees again. And then find that center of your body. And see if you can just lift your left shoulder slightly, or the upper shoulder, to really feel a movement through from the center, a bit more of a twist through that center. And breathe, don't forget to breathe. And then release, coming back up, breathing in, pushing into the left hand, taking the right arm back up again, twist goes the other way. So open that center point in the front of your body, lift up, and then release the hand back to the floor. Sit back then on your heels, take child's pose for a second, find the back of your body, breathe to the center. Expand everything from there. Inhale, exhale. And then we're going to come forward and we're going to take our side lifts on the other side. So sweep the legs round if you can. Or you don't need to actually, it's only because I'm facing you, you get my back otherwise. So we're taking the other side. So knees are bent, but heels are under your bottom if you're going to use the lift. Shoulder elbow connection, wrist is coming out straight in front of the elbow. Hands are nice and spread, the hand on the floor to support us. When you're ready, right arm, you can take just a lift to start, maybe get used to it. Lift up through the side body on the right side in my case this time, lowering through from that center point. You're taking hips into it and haven't already done so, take it on the next one. So you lift up and the knees and feet and legs are still, lower leg are connected to the floor. There you lift. Take two more, lifting up. I'm going to hold the last one for a second or two. Still focusing on where you're lifting from, but you still have to have your tummy tucked in to support everything here. All your core needs to be switched on. When you get up to the next one, hold wherever you are. See if you can lift the center point in the underside a little bit higher. See if you can lift the outside then, the top side a little bit higher. And then focus on them as you exhale and lower yourself slowly down to the floor. And then we're going to take the thread the needle on the other side. So when you're ready, come back up onto your tabletop with slightly wide legs at the back. Check by looking down that you can't see your feet so still. You don't want your toes in and your knees out. You want the feet still directly going back from the knees. Find that length in the front body, find that connection and zipping up in the back body, tuck the chin, tuck the belly. And then when you're ready, breathing in, we're going to twist and lift the left arm, moving from center, letting the head come with us in the twist if it's comfortable, not too big. And then releasing on an exhale, folding the left arm under the right elbow bends to allow us to come to the floor. Check your hips then when we're here, so just let go of the breath now. Check the hips, move them so that they feel balanced over your knees again. And then if you can and you feel comfortable, find the center point on the front of your body or inside if you can really reach it. And then think of twisting a little bit more by lifting the top shoulder slightly. Maybe the head comes with it to look a little bit upwards as well. Moving out from center. And moving back into center as you soften and lower. And then getting ready to move on an inhale. So press into your hand, lift up, inhale, opening up the left side again. Opening up the heart and the center, just below it possibly. And then the hand comes down and you exhale back to tabletop. Sit back again into child's pose. Elbows to the floor, head to the floor if you're comfortable. And breathe. Okay, so we're going to go into a little bit of a sequence here of moving using our core. So when you're ready, we're going to come back up to tabletop. There are a few options here, so please listen as I go through it in case there's something that you don't feel you want to do that might be not for you this morning. Okay, so we're starting in normal tabletop. So knees are a bit closer together now, so hip distance apart, feet are still going straight back. Find all the connections through the crown, through the chin, tucking back, long back and neck, lifting the tummy up to support the lower back. Feel that real connection through the palms, going up through the wrists, through the elbows, through the shoulders. Turn your elbows, oh, cramp in my left leg. Turn your elbows so that you're inside of your elbows. You can rotate it a little bit more towards the front of the room. You'll find more strength then in your lower arms, your forearms. Okay, so we're just going to take cat-cow first of all, so we know that one. Inhale long in neutral, exhale, tucking the tailbone first, and thinking of the centre. So that's the top of your arc here as you lift up. It's not really your heart, it's a little bit below there maybe. And then lower back through, drawing the centre on the front of your body forward and upwards into cow. Take one more cat-cow, thinking of that movement from centre rather than from tailbone this time. Exhaling into cat, inhaling into cow if you're going with the breath. And then come back to neutral. Okay, so we're going to take diagonal arm and leg lifts here. If you just want to do an arm or a leg, then feel free to just stick to one area. So we're going to breathe in and we're going to trail the right arm forward, the left toe backwards. Keep them on the floor to start with. Exhale there. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. So we're lifting the right arm, left leg, or only one, from the center of our body for a change, not just from the hinges that we talk about. Think of moving outwards from the center as you lift. Switching on the tummy, switching on the glutes. Everything switched on, using that strength in the hand on the floor to rebound off. Next one, when you're up, hold. Find that center point. Flex the foot at the back if you've got your leg up. Flex your hand at the front if you can and fold it so that the palm's facing towards the wall. Find that center point and gently move out from there towards your palm and the sole of your foot. Breathe, wobble, strength work, core work. Lift up the tummy. And then release, bringing everything in, hand to floor, knee to floor. Sit back again in child's pose if you need a little bit of a stretch out. Make it extended child's pose this time with the hands out in front of you, elbows off the floor. Head to the floor if it makes it. Take a couple of breaths there. Try and release through your shoulders a bit. Move from that center of your back and move that movement in your breath up towards your shoulders. Widen, spread it. And then come back up to tabletop. We'll take the other side now. So it's 3 lifts and then a hold on whichever part of your body you've decided to use. So remember to try and rotate those elbows forward to give us some extra strength for the support here. And then we're trailing the left hand forward, sorry, in my case anyway, opposite hand and leg this time. On an inhale, we're going to lift. And on an exhale, we're going to lower. But not really thinking of the hip hinges just this morning or the shoulder hinges. We're thinking of moving out from the center of the body. Use that to move the lift from. One more lift. Keep your eyes closed if you can, but otherwise you might wobble, so half closed, it's fine. And then on the next one, we're holding. Flexing foot, flexing hand, reaching out from the middle, outwards towards the sole and the palm of the hand, pressing gently into the knee on the floor and the hand on the floor to support us, reaching through the crown as well, and then releasing. Back to the floor, back into child's pose. Reach back, head down, have a couple of breaths. Try and release the shoulders. Maybe let the elbows come down to the floor this time if it feels you want to. And then we're going to come back up when you're ready. So take a couple of breaths there just to feel that you're ready and restored to move again. Then come back up to tabletop. So we're going to take our lifts of our knees here. So we tuck our toes and we're just going to lift our knees and hover. So not 3 lifts here, we're just going up and hovering. So whichever height you find comfortable. Remember to rotate those elbows again and lift the tummy, tuck the chin, find that strong back body, and then pressing gently into the hands, lift the knees off the floor. So you're on the ball of your foot here. But find that center point, move from there. Draw it inwards, upwards. Find the strength in the center of you. It's not just your hands and your feet that are holding you here. You have to move from the middle outwards. And the bits that you don't need, you can soften. And then release. And then we're going to take either elbow to knee, so like that, crosswise, diagonally, or just knee to elbow, whichever you feel more comfortable doing. So you can do diagonal elbow knee here, or you can just do knee to elbow. When you're ready, find that long body first of all. Switch on the inner elbows again. Lengthen through the crown, lengthen through the tailbone. Breathe in. Exhale. Next inhale, long, and as you exhale, bring the elbow to knee or knee to elbow, whichever way you're doing it. Oops, take them out. Back in. You can keep them off the floor if you can, otherwise you might have to take them out. You can stretch out if you feel you want to. Just thinking of moving from that center, whichever way you've decided to move here. Just knee to elbow is fine. Don't need to reach out, whichever. But think of moving from the center. Feels like it's your shoulder doing all the work maybe, so move from the center. Find the strength in the middle of your body. And then lower that elbow, that hand and knee. And then same thing on the other side. So now decide which way you want to do it. Might need to shake out that right wrist a little bit, which I have because I put too much weight and force through it. So that's because I didn't switch on enough in my core. So switch on your core again. Decide whether it's elbow to knee just and reaching, which is fine, or both, and with or without reaching. Okay, so when we're ready, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, bring your elbow to knee, whichever position you've decided. Exhale. Inhale. Sorry, it's exhale for inwards. Wrong breath. Inhale out. Exhale in. Moving from center. Noticing if you've got it a little bit better this side because you knew what you were going to be doing. Maybe you've connected more to that point that we're moving from. Much more balanced in my case. And then release them after the next one. Hand to the floor. Pop the big toes together. Take your knees wider. Come back into extended wide leg child's pose this time. So knees are wider at the width of the mat. Big toes are together. And hips go back towards the heels. Elbows can be to the floor if you don't want to extend too far. Let the shoulders soften. And then we're going to move back up into tabletop. And then we're going to come into either plank or half plank. So you decide what you want this morning. So for half plank, you just need to move your hands about one hand's distance forward and then draw your shoulders back over your elbows. So you'll come into half plank then. So it feels a little bit odd. It's not quite as balanced feeling. A lot of weight going into the upper body. So lift the tummy, find that center point, tuck the tailbone. If you've gone into full plank, you've tucked your toes and lifted up, you're kicking your heels back. But go to the center point, everybody here. We're just holding for a couple of breaths. So find your center point and lengthen from there. Hold from there. Find the strength in the center of you. And then we're coming down through chaturanga. So tuck the elbows, move them backwards, move the heart slightly forwards, lower gently to the floor. If you need to take a breath there, then please do. I'm going to come up into cobra and hold. So it can be a baby cobra or a bigger cobra, whichever you want. Take the feet a little bit wider on the mat to support the lower back. Switch on the pelvis and the pubic bone, attach them to the floor, lift the tummy up, and then move up a little bit higher to where your center is. Think of moving from there now as we breathe in and we lift, squeezing the glutes, moving the heart, moving up, maybe as high as the center point, into cobra and hold. So draw the elbows a little bit closer to your center. Draw the shoulders down towards your center. Squeeze your glutes and move everything up towards the center. The back of the body is the part we're really thinking of here. So we're contracting everything down towards your middle of the back. Hold and breathe, of course. And then release, gently moving down to the front center part, hits the floor gently, come down to the floor, pop your head on your hands for a second. Take a couple of breaths here, just lying out in the front of your body. And then we're going to come, what's the time? We're going to come back up for one more movement. So gently bringing yourself up, not too strong this one, we're just using it as a bit of an opener. Come down onto the side of your hips, so into mermaid. So you come up onto your, sitting on your right hip in my case, you've tucked your right leg back and your left leg's forward. So it feels a bit skew-iff, this one. It always feels like you're tipping. So find that center point again and try and draw it back to where you feel stable again. Your left hip will lower slightly then, maybe onto your heel. And we're just taking some twists in this. 3 to the right, and then we'll swap. We'll do 3 to the left, then we come to the floor. So again, we're thinking of the center point of our body as we raise our right arm up, really reaching through the right side body, twisting and taking that right arm down again towards your left foot, looking downwards. Take 2 of these, lift up, twist back through, still thinking of that center that we're moving from. So the second one we're going to hold on, lift up, find that center point on the right side, twist from the middle, lower, hold, now find the center of you. Feels a little bit squished on one side, open on the other possibly. So find it and move from there as we lift back up. We reach back over and we bring the right arm down. Swap sides, same thing on the other side, just loosening off the shoulder a little bit after the work we've been doing here. So again, find the center, particularly on your inside edge, draw it back over so that that upper hip drops a little bit more. Take the left arm up this time, extend, feel from center movement and twist and lower. So take your time moving and close your eyes if you can and move from the center rather than from the fingertips. Just do another one and hold this one, lifting up, rotating, lowering from that center point, holding from that center point. So if you feel you're overextending, draw back towards that center. And then up again with the hand, big semicircle back, stretch out. Hand comes back down, and we're going to lower back down onto the floor, onto our back body. And we're coming into twisted roots. So find the back of your body long on the floor, expand from the center area again. Be sick of that work by the time we finish today. Feet are flat to the floor. We're going to lift the right leg up. We're going to squeeze the inner thighs and cross the right leg over the left leg. So squeezing the inner thighs to give you a little bit more movement now. And then we're going to pop our hands to the floor, and we're just going to lift our hips slightly over towards the right of the mat. So a couple of inches just to give us room to twist. And then we're going to breathe in, and as you exhale, we're going to lower the right knee over towards the left side. Moving from center, use your hands to stabilize you. Keep your shoulders on the floor as much as you can. So the lower down your knees are, the easier it is to keep your shoulders on the floor. Find the floor eventually with your foot, your right foot probably. So your left knee is weighing down the calf of your right leg. Travel up from there through your hips, feel what's happening in your hips. And then move up from there to where the twist is centered. So your shoulders are easing down towards the floor, hopefully. Turn the palms upwards so that you're not holding on there anymore. Let your shoulders relax a bit more. You might want to take your head to the left, to the right slightly, to the opposite side from your legs. And now go back down from your head towards the center of the twist. And find the breath and see if you can breathe to that center point. See if things start to unravel a little bit more. Your legs might release a bit more. Your head might move a little bit more towards your shoulder. You might start to feel a bigger stretch down the outside of your top leg. You might feel a little bit more of a stretch through the ribs on the bottom of your body, on the underside. Use that center point to release from. It can be our strength, our center of self. It can be where we learn to release and let go from. Not our head telling us to do it, it's ourself. Usually I've gone silent, but I don't like to do that. You don't know if I'm still there. Anyway, we're going to switch our tummies back on then and draw in towards that center of self before we then lift our legs gently upwards, rolling up, uncrossing the legs, pressing into the feet to bring ourselves back to center on the mat. And then we're going to take it the other way. So do so when you're ready. So first of all, turn your palms down before we move over. And then we'll rotate them when we're over there. So lifting the left leg, squeezing the inner thighs, moving the hips over slightly to your left to give yourself some space. Inhaling, and on the exhale, we're drawing the knees over towards the right side in my case. Holding on to that center point, using the strength there so that everything just doesn't catapult over and pull things. Your muscles are moving downwards until you reach the floor. Shoulders, if your knees are low enough, will stay on the floor. If they come off, don't worry. Turn your hands so your palms are facing up. If you can and you're comfortable, let your head rotate towards the opposite shoulder from the direction of your knees. And then find the center of self and see if you can let go a little bit from there. You've used the strength to take you over to this. We're now thinking about using that center of us to release from, to let go. So use the breath, use the exhale, directing it to there, to send the message in all directions in your body. Doesn't always happen immediately. We sometimes have to spend some time on finding our strength in our center, and sometimes to find the ability to release from our center, not just physically, but emotionally as well. So when we're ready, we're going to move back up now. So we're going to draw our tummies in, draw up through to the center point, and then use that then gently to strengthen and move the muscles to roll us back up to center. And hop the feet to the floor, move your body back to center point. Stretch your legs away from you, stretch your hands above your head. Take a full body stretch from center outwards, from the center of your front, back, sides. Every area of you from the center is moving out, reaching out, and then drawing it all back in. And then come to Shavasana. Let the feet fall out, find that middle point with your hands, maybe take your hands in rather than your side just for a second. Lay them gently on top of where you found your center earlier. Maybe it's moved, maybe the center wasn't where you thought it was. Find your breath and take 3 breaths into the palms of your hands. Long, slow, smooth breaths. As you do, let go of your shoulders, let go of your hips, let go of your feet. It's your breath that's telling you to do this. It's yourself that's telling your breath to do this. It's not your head. not the chattering monkeys. So anybody that wants to stay still and stay in Shavasana for a few more minutes, moments, hours, however long you've got, please do. Those of us that have got to move on with the day, we're going to just gently wriggle ourselves about and then move over onto our side bodies. Take the time to open your eyes, make sure you move slowly, take your breath, use your breath to move you. And then come back. So bring the hands to heart center, so a little bit higher than our center point that we've been finding today. Just close your eyes one more time and center on your breath. And center on your center. And for the rest of the day, center on yourself. That's where the strength is. That's where the release is. Thank you everybody for your practice. Namaste.